Hello, my friends. Hello, hello. You guys see the map. You know what time it is. It's time to talk about interesting starts in Godherja, but this time I'm going to be using starts recommended by you, the community. So this is a differently named video. As you can see, it's not starts I recommend, it's starts the community recommends, and we're just going to jump right in here. So the first start is by Muk Wreckers, and it's in Kemsar, way over here on the western edge of the map. If you look right here, we have one of the towers, and in this area we have Tharena Masa. I don't know how to say his name, I'm not even going to try. But this dude, so he's interesting, right? If we click on him, he'll get a little startup event here. The King of the Tower of Dervindian speaks. A dead name from a dead language. Its lord before me still stands, staring at me while I sit in my chamber at its peak. Time is coming, human, it says, the tongue of my people visibly disgusting in its mouth. It is only a shadow that speaks to me, a reflection, blurry and half seen as he stands there. A guardian of the last of his kind, perhaps. Something from a forgotten age. I lean in across the desk and stare into the shadow visage, glaring at it. You will do your part for me as well, I say, trying not to shiver in the unnaturally cold room. An ultimate power for myself. A throne long deserved. I want it all. And you shall have it all, mortal. The figure sneered back, turning and stepping towards the fogged glass window. Cyrus, find the towers and activate them. You know what to do. Do it, and I will give you the power you crave. Then it shall be done. His main overall goal is to unite the towers and activate them. If you know anything about Godherja, you know that that's an absolutely insane request. They're everywhere. There's one here, there's some up here, they're all over the map. But it is a pretty cool, say you wanted to form an empire or something, you know, and you have like this long-term goal. Well, then you can't go worse with this guy. He doesn't know any magic, so you could probably try to teach him one of the dead magic spells. I think that's like part of their culture over here, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, first start here. Pretty interesting guy. I like this little bit of flavor. It's quite a lot of fun. So our second one, which was recommended to me by Alejandre Tor #1. This is Iordanes, or Iordanes, I'm not sure how you would say his name. A governor of ruins. He is the ruler of former Opacasia's capital, basically. Opacasia, golden bow and maiden, beauty from the sun-crested peaks of the mountains to the copper-lined beaches along your wondrous shores. The poetry of the great realm my forebears ruled said that Opacasia was the brilliant jewel of Adversaria, an envy of the world to look upon with pride. Times are different now, darker, worrying. Across the west the Selvolki march, and can I truly blame them? I am an Adversarian, true and proud of my blood, but under me, those who do not have the ability to choose. Who am I to resign them all to death, like so many others have? And with what my homeland has done, can I say that it is not divine retribution we now face? My countrymen call me a coward, a compassionate fool. Well, pity to them. As the governor of Opacasia, it is my duty to save my people, and if I must crawl to the Witchbreaker and beg for it, then I shall. There has to be another way. So, Iordanes, he's an interesting one because technically he's the former governor of Opacasia, but he also is one of the few people who can surrender to Senware and not lose all of his lands. So that makes for a pretty interesting dynamic start. Really good guy. He's probably one of the few actually good Adversarians left in the world. So if you were wanting to play as a Adversarian who maybe wasn't morally compromised, you couldn't go worse than with this guy right here. Really great recommendation. I had actually thought about putting him in another video, so I'm glad somebody said it and reminded me to throw him in now. Our fourth one was a recommendation of Labra6969, very nice, and that is Cyrus, the Blackguard of Daris. He is an Aerosi, and we talked about them a little bit in one of our Adversarian videos, and his start date is called the Deserter. I ran, and who could blame me? All my life I have served as the dog of the legions, killing rebels, killing invaders, killing my countrymen. But were it not for that note slipped into my tent one fateful night, would I have remained nothing besides another Adversarian whore? Would I have betrayed my family further in my ignorance? Oh, I'm getting demonetized, but no more. I found my place where the Adversarians killed my kin. I have gathered what few villagers remain in these hills and have declared my blood right. I have found the name of my family's killer and declared my vengeance. I am Cyrus. And one day I shall be a king, as my forefathers were. I will not be the last Erosi. So the Erosi actually used to rule up in this area, remember, and then the Adversarians took them over after they were fighting, supposedly they were fighting with some of the trade shipments and raiding them. They were like a raiding people, sort of a tribal people. He also is an Erosi that has dead magic. He has 15 different spells. He's only a gifted magi, but still, quite a lot to start off with here. You have quite the You have quite the idea here. You can also return to Irosi traditions and get rid of your culture here. And I think also you would convert back to the Irosi faith, if I'm not mistaken, just like the traditional Irosi faith. So you sort of have like a unique start here. Also, the person he's talking about that you're trying to kill is Garasis, who is your nemesis because he killed your family. So if you wanted sort of a start with a unique history and unique backstory where he's from basically a dead culture and also has a pretty serious rival here with a man who killed his family and took all their skulls, well then you couldn't go wrong here with Cyrus the Blackguard. There you go. So the next one by Mike Crowd Dropout, which was actually recommended to me on the Discord, is Kral Magnak, who is one of the cannibal Silvoki, the Prasnarva. So we're going to click on him here. And he does not get an intro, as you can see. However, he's interesting because he's basically set up to be the ruler of this region. Once Senwar comes over here. He also knows the Wood Law, which is one of the, if not, actually it is the most powerful, technically in canon, magic schools, if I'm not mistaken. So that is incredibly interesting. So he's a powerful Wood Law Magi. He's also a cannibal and a lunatic. We've talked a little bit, maybe at this point, about the Silvoki. I'm pretty sure that video's come out by now. Yeah, I would hope so. So a really interesting character who you can play as here. There's not a lot of Presnarvan or Presnarvi in the game at all, and the fact that you can play as this cannibal guy, which I believe means you can raid other territories for like slaves, yeah, raid for captives to eat, to consume, which is really interesting. So kind of a fun start here, kind of a little scary guy, but he's got pretty good skill technician. He's a blade master and he's got Reaver, so he's pretty good here. These last couple are just going to be recommendations by me, just because I wanted to throw some in this video. I didn't actually get as many as I thought the last time, so we're just going to throw a couple in here. So first of all, we're going to get Kral Kresmir, the Giant Lair. The pure reason I want to put him on here is, one, he's a dwarf. I love dwarfs. If you want to play as a dwarf in the game, he's literally one of the few options. He's actually a dwarf. It's pretty sick. No, obviously not racially, but you know, size-wise. He's scarred, and he has this incredible nickname, the Giant Lair. He is said to have slept with a giant during a hunt. He is renowned for his raunchy adventures, which made him a subject of many songs. So he's basically like this raucous, like, dwarf man who's also quite fearsome. I mean, if he was able to lay a giant, theoretically, he's pretty strong too. So I just like the idea of being a Herculean veteran, a berserker, and also being a dwarf. It's everything, all the criteria that I want in a character. I don't even need to know anything else. I want this guy to rule. I want him to succeed in any way possible. And the final one I'm going to recommend here to conclude this video is Duke Ogier, the Ogre of Bane Reset. I love this dude. If you don't want to play as one of the Devasenyon brothers, this guy is it. The Devasenyons have ripped the realm to shred, to bloody shred. Are they blind, greedy, or just stupid? I stand upon the Ash Tower, the highest peak of the Crisson, and before me I see nothing. Endless ash turned wastes that have birthed nothing besides blight on our land. Skeletons, masquerading as kings, dance about and bring devastation and ruin every generation. When will the madness end? When will these fools see the stupidity of fighting for a crown when our realm is always in danger? I don't know the answer to these questions, but I know one thing. As long as I live, so shall I hold back the storm, as is my way. So Duke Ogier, the Ogre, has probably the coolest coat of arms in the entire game. Look at this thing. It also just keeps playing into itself. I love this thing. This is one of my favorite characters. His motto is "Let them all come." Just an absolute badass in every capacity. He has the option to retake his duchy, I think, at the very start of the game, so you can expand your lands a little bit here. Really, what I like about him is that you can try to forge a claim on the Marcher Throne. You have a claim on a county, so that would be an interesting route. If you instead didn't want to play as one like the Black Bastard or one of the other ones, you could try to do it as Duke Ogier the Ogre. He's just sick of everybody's shit, basically, and he's like, all right, fine, I'm gonna do this myself, and then you can, you know, forge your own destiny for hopefully the better of Chevalier. All this infighting, all these stupid people, maybe, I mean, I'm sure it would continue on with your line, but at least, you know, the struggle would end with you in this case. He's also Herculean scarred and has the Way of Nullification, so I assume he's supposed to be an anti-magier or an anti-magi fighter, so he's probably quite skilled in the art of war, if you wanted to headcanon that as well. But that is going to be it for me. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I want to thank everybody for their wonderful recommendations. I know there was only like 4 of them in this video, but I try to pick the ones that I'm like, ooh, that's really interesting. I think we've done that here. So again, thank you. If you want to suggest more, please do so in the future. If you'd like to become a channel member, please do so. I appreciate anybody who decides to become one. And if you don't see your name on here, it's because I made this video way too long ago and you haven't been been updated yet. I make videos really far in advance just because I like to have time to do other things, and whenever I have a moment to spare, I usually spend doing it making videos, so which tends to be a lot of the time in the morning, and you don't need to know all that, but there you go. And that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. This might be the final time I recommend any starts until we get any new start dates. I feel like that's probably the best way to go about it, but once we get some new ones, you'll definitely hear from me again. But that's it for me. I'm Soul. This is Starts the Community Recommends in Godherja, and I will happily see you in the next one.